The Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast is dedicated to all things Horus Heresy. This podcast delves into the grimdark universe where Primarchs clash, legions rise, and loyalties fracture faster than a Land Raider's track. But it's not just about the lore of the Horus Heresy. The Accountabilibuddies also explore the gaming side of things, from painting and modeling tips to product reviews and ideas to help you in your hobby. So, whether you're a seasoned Forge World veteran or a fresh-faced scout, this podcast is your Vox channel to the galaxy. Expect discussions on lore, modeling, gaming, and maybe even the shenanigans that your hosts somehow seem to find their way into. Remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there are only two things you can count on: heresy and your trusty Accountabilibuddies.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to episode 79 of the Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Duncan, and tonight I'm joined by my friends from around the United States, starting with... That's Brian.
Jack? Oh, I don't know how this order goes anymore.
Jamie.
And tonight we have a special guest.
I am Ben Marsh.
Wonderful. We're glad to have you here. Unfortunately, John is not able to show up tonight because he is still driving back from War Dome. So I hope he had a lot of fun at that event, John. And sadly, we will miss you tonight, but we will carry it on. Now we're going to pause for a word from our sponsors.
Do you love resin bases? Then go to our sponsor, Elric Hobbies, for all of your basing and basing accessory needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a discount. Legendary Monument Hobbies. Monument Hobbies is a one-stop shop for all of your painting needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a 5% discount on your purchase. Pop Goes the Monkey. Find maker of third-party accessory bits of arms, legs, backpacks, and more, where you can get 10% off your first order over $125 with code HERESYABB at checkout.
And welcome back from that little bit. So, before we go into everything we would normally go into and start off with our hobby progress, I want to do a shout out to everybody who's listening to remind them all that we still have the contest for the table's worth of terrain from Death Ray Designs going on. All you need to do to enter the contest is to come onto our podcast, into the podcast Discord, or into our Facebook group, and go to either the contest channel or just post into the main Facebook group there. A picture of a miniature, a unit, or an army, and a written up bit of your own personal fluff about said unit, miniature, or army to be entered in the contest channel if you're on the Discord, or just the regular Facebook page channel, whatever. It will be community voted for whoever wins. They'll get a full 6x4 table of painted terrain from Death Ray Designs and a mat to go along with it. And you will get congratulated by all of us here. We might even invite you on to talk about the army or unit or whatever that you did to enter the contest. And that's going to be community voted once everything is done. It's running the entire month of April. If you don't even have it painted, you have time to just put your pluff together and plop it in there. We'll be happy to take it. And now, since we always start off with the hobby progress, I'll go ahead and start my hobby progress off this week. I have assembled another 10 Rampagers. I've got these new blades that I got from the place I talked about last week, and I've got them on my Sergeants now. They're looking really good. Probably going to start putting some paint onto them next week or so. I got all that done during our hobby hangout this week that, for everyone who's listening, we host every single week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in our Discord. And that's all I've done.
It's been kind of crowded recently. The past
It has been getting kind of crowded in there. We might have to start hosting it more than one day a week so that more people can show. We'll see. But that's all I got done other than playing some. I finally got around to repurchasing Cyberpunk because it was on sale, and I have the Xbox X now, so I did that, and then I played a lot of that. But that's all I did. Brian, what have you done this week for Hobby Wise?
I've been working, chipping away on these crashed Valkyrie gunship pieces of terrain I got, as well as the Hydra flak turret emplacements and some trench line that I took from a local store because I got tired of seeing it in bare plastic. I built and painted one of those new Cult Abomination guys. I think I threw that up on the Discord. Not bad for, I don't know, probably between 2 and 3 hours worth of work on that. Trying out some new paints from that Warpainter Army Fanatic line. And that's about it, I think. What about you, Jamie?
Well, I'm in the middle of hardcore soccer season right now with the kids, but I was able to squeeze in a little bit. I was able to build and prime and base coat a Contemptor Dreadnought. That was a Dark Angel Contemptor Dreadnought, actually. And then I've been working on some 3D printing stuff this week, trying to get the scale right on a couple items that I'm working on right now. So yeah, and I had technical issues with my PC, and my wife has been working on it a lot, so I haven't been on it a whole lot this week. So, and I've also been working on gradually scaling up more saber tanks that I've had already started on. It's taking a while to get them done because usually I'm able to paint like about 1 or 2 days a week right now. So, hopefully that'll end soon. I guess mid-May. But I guess that's it. I will pass it on to the late joinee, Dan.
What's up? Yeah, so this week my only hobby adjacent progress of anything was working on D&D campaign on Roll20. So been running a game, got to a point where I had to load a new map up and start populating monsters in the new map, and it's a lot harder to wing it on online role-playing games than like when I used to with just tabletop stuff. So I've been having to do a lot more prep, so that's taken away any time from sitting down at the painting table. It's fun, but just isn't giving me time to paint right now. So yeah, am I the last in since I was late?
No, I go.
Okay.
Yeah, my hobby progress has been putting together a Legion. What was the model you gave me, Duncan?
It's the Legion, the Trader Legion Champion.
The Trader Legion Champion. I put that together on the Hobby Hangout Wednesday night. And then I started playing with recipes for World Bearers, trying to come up with a paint scheme using Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl. Still working through that. It's not as rich of a color my first pass through, but also I spent 5 minutes working on it. So, and then the next big hobby thing that I did was started organizing the garage because it desperately needed to be cleaned up from jumping from project to project to project. So yeah, and I think that kicks us over to legendary Mr. Ben. What have you been up to, sir?
A little bit too much. I have been, let's see, heresy-wise, I picked up a new Battle Foam Magna Rack system, the 1520, so for my Space Wolves army. So I've been rebasing a lot of my models so that they can accept some rare earth magnets. Excuse me. And so really enjoying that. Boy, is clean up after a game just so much easier now. Started doing some work on a Leviathan Dreadnought for the Space Wolves as well. Basically repainting it. I had back when I started it, and it wasn't it wasn't jiving as well as I wanted it to with the rest of my army, so I started redoing that. I've actually been working a lot on Star Wars Legions models. Some friends, local game group here, got really heavy into it, and I am nothing if not an absolute addict. So I picked up a bunch of models and have started playing that a little bit. Yeah, I mean, just putting together models and trying to put a little bit of paint on them when I can.
Excellent.
Well, that sounds cool. So for the next bit, we typically will talk about GW's releases. We don't really have a lot of pre-orders right now. We've got the Ball Predator pack that's online only, and the Blood Angel character armory. That one's currently out of stock already, but it is available for pre-order. Beyond that, the preview this week, there was no Heresy preview, but we do have the Solar Ox, Basilisk, and Medusa coming up soon. The Hermes Light Sentinel Squadron coming up soon. And End of the Death Volume 3 is going to be available in paperback, since all the hardbacks got taken by the scalpers who are screwing all of us. And they're also putting out stuff in French, because yay for the French. I'm very happy for them. And one thing I would like everyone to note, because there have been a few of them spotted in the wild, the Apothecary detachment is actually posted on GW's page. Now, it doesn't mean that they're available, because currently they're showing as out of stock, but they are showing as online only, but they are showing as regular order availability whenever it's in stock. So whenever that happens, and whenever they're around, best of luck in getting one. I hope everyone does, because those are some sweet looking models, and I personally want to get about 2 sets of each, maybe 3 sets. I'm not sure.
May the odds forever be in your favor.
yeah, pretty much. That's kind of how that one goes. One kind of funny thing that I personally found while looking through GW's website is that things like, the Trader Champion console that Jack and I acquired, he's temporarily out of stock. So is the Legion, the Loyalist Champion console. The Siegebreaker console is out of stock. Most everything that has come out recently, Varian Asher Haddon, etc., out of stock. They're all website exclusives, and most of them are not available. So hopefully they'll get that fixed soon, but there's no idea as to when.
I would love to one day find out how many units they start with worldwide. Just so
I would love to have that information.
Yeah, we'll never have it. I know that, but I think that would be.
Oh no!
It would be fantastic. It would hopefully give peace of mind to everybody who goes, how well is like our niche of a niche hobby doing?
Yeah, I would love to have that information. The one last thing of the current new releases, they do have the Black Shields, the Solar Ox, the Legion of Astartes infantry marking or transfer sheets, and the Legion of Astartes vehicle transfer sheets, all available online, as well as the Solar Ox. The new Solar Ox stuff is all up there, other than the stuff I listed earlier. And Endrin Har, again, is, strangely enough, out of stock. I'm not really sure why, but again, who knows? But that's that. I haven't looked at anything Heresy adjacent. I'm not John. I'm not that crazy about looking into crazy stuff, especially when I've been sick with the sinus infection the past couple of days. So pardon me on dropping the ball there, gentlemen. Have any of you all seen anything Heresy adjacent that's been cool or awesome released in the past week or so?
Pro Krill has put out their preview that they're going to release.
The paint sets from Dethroned. Yeah.
So that's coming here soon.
Yeah, all 3 of them are going to be regular order.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I'll have to get those since I couldn't get them at Adepticon.
And they did a good video showing their opacity versus white and black paper, so that's good.
Well, that's cool. Ben, you seen anything lately that's a Heresy adjacent that's cool that's been released?
Honestly, I've done a bad job here lately of keeping on top of product releases. I've had my head buried in other projects, so I'm useless at this point in the show.
Well, that's absolutely fair.
At least you're honest. So.
Yeah. I mean, you're better off than most of us are. So, or you're in the same boat with us. Yeah.
I am really interested in getting a bottle of that Pro Acryl magnesium color. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it just looks like a really cool color to do something with.
I can't disagree there. That was one of the ones I really wanted to get. And this one that Jamie got because he wants to show off and be Jamie. But that's okay. We still love you, Jamie.
I know.
It's all right. I can show off the fact that I actually got the Trader Champion console, and I've got like 4 of them sitting on my desk right now in various states of assembly. So, yeah.
I know.
So the reason that we have Ben on today, and this is pretty much going to be the main topic of discussion for tonight's episode, is Ben runs the Nova Open Heresy track. Is that correct, sir?
And that is correct. I got tapped on back in 2021 by the group that was kind of left in charge of it at the time. Originally, I was just going to come in and join the kind of established team of Heresy event organizers from up and down the East Coast, and I was just going to run a singular event. As we got closer to Nova 2022, which was the grand reigniting of the Nova Open after 2 years of of having to be shut down for the pandemic. Once we got about a month out from that, some pretty harsh life circumstances happened to the lead EO at the time, and that title, I guess, dropped down to both myself and a good friend of mine, Jesse Irvin, out of Richmond, Virginia. So we scrambled. We made we made Nova basically our life for the next solid month, along with our team of EOs, and did everything we could to make that a fun and exciting event. And it was hectic. It was an absolute pain in the ass, but it was a lot of fun, and we came out the other end of it with a broader understanding of what it took to actually run an event like that. And we were energized. We were ready to fucking hit it and just, make it our own. And we have been very fortunate that, we have been asked to come back and basically been told, like, it's yours until you're dead or we find someone better.
Well, seeing as how you're doing it again this year and you're not dead, I'm guessing they also haven't found anyone better then.
So far, no. I'm sure you all have absolutely run into the circumstance where a lot of people in our hobby and our community have some really strong opinions on running events, but very few will actually step up and do it. So yeah, I'm this, I guess, perfect combination of stubborn, motivated, and stupid. So, and I say that about my team as well, and I love them dearly. So I hope they get it. But yeah, no, I think that we've started working out the kinks, and we've put on some really good events, and we've started getting a following. And so now that we've got the foundation built, now it's all about making it better. It's all about expanding. It's all about connecting with other groups and other pods of gamers, and giving them the opportunity to come and enjoy what I find to be the best part of this this game and this community. And that's just being able to get together with a bunch of like-minded individuals, friends you don't even know yet. Like you can walk into the Heresy Hall, and the Heresy Hall at Adepticon is basically the same as Nova. You walk in and there's just this energy about it, and immediately, like, I don't know these people, but I know I like them, and I know that they're going to like me, and that's a kind of a rare feeling. That's a rare experience, and that's why I think certainly myself and a lot of my team do what we do. And I think you would agree that the groups that you guys run around with and experience with, that's why they do it as well. Just to be able to create that social, it's a big social experiment around our little plastic army men, and just have a good time and make it our own.
I will absolutely agree there. So this year, actually, when we were actually up at Adepticon, that was the first time that I've met you, and we kind of got to sitting around, hanging out, talking, shooting the shit, and having some adult beverages of whatever variety. And that was when you told me that you ran the Nova Open Heresy events, and
it was
I said, "Well, that'd be
shots,
cool to get you on here."
It was Malort shots, wasn't it, Duncan?
No. It was absolutely not Malort shots.
That was
Thank
earlier in the
God.
day. That happened earlier in the day. However, I could still taste it by the time Duncan and I started talking.
Yeah, no, there was none of that going on at this point. This was the pleasant part of the Adepticoning, not the malorting. Shout out to our friends, the Delarosas, who love to pass out horrible drinks somehow. So how was your Adepticon? I mean, was this the first time you got to go?
It was the first time I got to go. Short answer is it was amazing. Loved it. A good friend of mine, Chris Ramon, basically I had posted on Facebook late last year, just right before the Adepticon signups popped up, and it was just like, hey, has anyone gone, in my social circles, like, what were your opinions? I'm thinking about it. I've got a little time, some extra money. Maybe I can make it happen. And, that weekend he shot me a message and was like, hey, bud, I've already got a hotel. I just want you to be there. Let's make it happen. So I was like, yeah, absolutely. You have taken away the barrier to entry for me. I'll go. Let's do this.
Chris was a Chicago guy, right? And then
yes, he was.
if I recall correctly. So yeah. I played some local events with him before he moved. So yeah, good guy.
Absolute gem of a human. He was in DC, and he came, of course, to Nova, and then he came down south to some of my other events that are run, and then went back to Chicago, and now he's back in DC. So yeah, I went up there with him, and my intention was, because I run a lot of events, but I don't really get to, sit and play and just, not have responsibilities at anything. So it was nice to just kind of kick back and not have to worry about any of the logistics and or the players and all of that stress, and just, have drinks, interact with people, connect. I really wanted to go and connect with other groups wherever they may be from, and just see what they do different, try to get some ideas, share some ideas, and our strategies on how to actually run events, market them, all that good stuff. And it was great success, honestly. Like, I met a lot of fantastic people. Got to play a game with Brian here, who kind of jumped in when the team that we were going to be playing ended up dropping second round of the doubles. So he jumped in and made sure that we didn't have a bye. And I know how stressful that can be, just having to jump in and ring. But everyone that I met was phenomenal. Shared a lot of drinks, shared a lot of stories. It was a perfect experience for me.
Awesome.
I think I set a land speed record for making two 1,500-point lists that day.
And it was almost as fast taking them off the table.
Almost.
Gotta love that.
No, it was great. He and Jessica were phenomenal opponents. It was a fun, couple of hours just shooting the shit and rolling dice in as low a stress environment as you could possibly have, and that's the kind of game that I like to have.
I think that's the kind of game that most of us like to have. Do you intend to go back to Adepticon now that they have moved? And for anyone who hasn't heard out there, Adepticon's moved to Milwaukee now. Do you plan to go there?
So, I go first time going to Adepticon in Chicago. First time ever been to Chicago. Didn't even really get a chance to look around the city, but I go and I have one of the best meals of my life in that town, and then they move it to Wisconsin. Now, don't get me wrong, I love cheese just like the next war gamer, but my plan is to go up there. Of course, we'll see how my life plans continue to evolve over the year. But yeah, I would love to go back.
So where was the best meal? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, that's what I got.
My
fat guy likes food.
Oh my god!
I think we most of us relate to that here.
There is. Like Saturday night, it's the last night of the con for us, and someone suggested that we go to this. I think it was called Perry's Steakhouse, and the way that they kind of introduced it to me was, it's the best steakhouse that you'll ever go to where you won't buy a steak. I was like, well, you're not really selling it if it's a steakhouse, and I'm not going to buy the damn steak. So they're like, just trust me on it. Like, okay. So our group of 8 guys walks in there, and we are not dressed for this place in the slightest. Like, I'm wearing a bright tie-dye hoodie that says "I am Benuff" on it, and like the people that are sitting here are like dressed up almost like it's like a damn prom, or they're the CEOs of something. But we order, and they have this. Their claim to fame is this pork chop, and I've never spent that much on a piece of meat. I'm a peasant when it comes to my food hobbies. I just go to Cookout most of the time, and this pork chop was about the size of a Land Raider, so that giving a unit of scale that everyone here could understand. The thing was absolutely enormous, cooked to perfection, and everything was going absolutely great until our waiter, asshole that he is, said that in my 8 years of being here, I've only seen 2 other people finish it. So, of course, I took that as a personal challenge and ruined myself completing that meal. And it was awesome. It was easily one of the best meals I've ever had in my life.
Hold on.
Yeah, I just looked them up, and I have to admit, being a local guy in Schaumburg, I'm going to have to add this to my list of places to go, because I had not heard of this.
As a fan of pork chops, tell me more, because I'm intrigued as to how this pork chop was better than any other pork chop other than by being gigantic.
Okay. So quantity is a quality all of its own, but just it was seasoned and cooked so well. Like it's I can't even really describe it. It was so sweet and tender, and like the guy is standing there while like other like sous chefs are out there cutting everyone's meat for them. The chef recommends that you start with the ribs and then move on to the fillet and then the tip, as that is the most savory. Like, what? Like, I've never had to be instructed on how to eat a piece of meat before, but they did it, and it was an experience.
Apparently, I have one here. I have one here locally, so I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I'm Googling it myself.
There's one in like about 2 hours away from me, so I'm gonna have to go and make a pilgrimage there. So the one guy at our table that ordered the chicken was absolutely pissed off when he saw the rest of our food come. He's like, "I fucked up. I shouldn't have gotten the chicken. Like, I should have gone with the crowd on this one." So yeah,
did all of you get the pork chop?
Everyone except for the one guy that got chicken, and Chris, because he is a vegan or a vegetarian.
Oh, okay.
They have a New York strip flight.
Yes, they do.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That is, if you can't say Fat Man Menu without saying Fat Man Menu, I think that's it right there.
Yes, I would like your flight of filet, please.
I think I'm going to have to add this to my general rule of thumb when going to restaurants, but if you're at a barbecue place, never get the fish tacos. And if you're at a steakhouse, never get the chicken.
Yeah, I mean, that's a rule that I kind of live by too.
And if you go to a seafood joint, don't get the steak. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I think the closest one to me is Nashville, so I gotta see about maybe doing that.
Yeah, I'm
Now,
on
that
that
might be
menu right now.
halfway between you and me, and maybe that's where we meet next time and just go have our pork cake and then, say our goodbyes after we wake up from our food coma.
Okay, you can come visit me.
Yeah, I could. Meet me at the Perry's in Nashville, and we'll figure it out.
All right.
So, as much fun as talking about food is, it's not really why we're here. So, tell us about Nova. What you're looking at doing, what you've done in the past, and how you're looking at running it for this year, and what you wanted to do to build it forward.
Well, every year it's kind of a moving target every year because you're working with a team of dedicated and really passionate hobbyists, and I don't like stifling creativity. I don't like saying you have to do it this way. So with my EO team, I say how I like my events run. The general vibe that we're going for. And as long as you stay within kind of that sandbox, I want you to build your event in whatever way is going to be fun for you to run and that you think that your players are going to enjoy. So we kind of took that mentality and philosophy early on, and the thing that I think that we do best is we create an environment where just everyone knows their event organizers. The organizers are going out and they're making sure that people are everyone's taken care of. They're having fun. They're meeting new people. We're just making it a fun, low stress experience because we've got a lot of people that come into these events thinking this is going to be a hardcore tournament, or they're not used to this sort of format where they're being paired up against random people like this. It's always someone's first convention experience, or it may be they may be early on in their wargaming career and they get paired up with someone who's been playing since day one, and you want to make sure that the person who's been there for decades has the same good time that the person who this is their first event, maybe one of the first few games that they're ever playing, that they have the same kind of good time. So that's kind of the philosophy that we've run with. And originally it was we had kind of a preset listing of events that was a holdover from the team that ran it back in 2019, which I think was a kind of a combination of people, some of which were from the Graying Legion, which you may be familiar with. I know that they were running some of the stuff at Adepticon. I think they were doing the Titanic
for years.
Stuff. Excuse me.
They actually used to run the Heresy events as a whole up for years.
Yeah. So that's how I kind of got connected with Nova in general. Was I kind of befriended some of them. So that was the first year. It was just kind of dropped on us, and so we just we made it work with what was kind of set in front of us. So as we've grown, we've wanted to, of course, we wanted to expand our size, and then part of that was pushed upon by Nova themselves because they want to grow and they've changed venues. So we have a larger space available to us, and so we really pushed ourselves to have this larger event offering. So we started adding some extra time slots for different games. Instead of only having one Titanicus event, we wanted to have two Titanicus events at different times. Same with Zone Mortalis. We expanded to make sure that we had a Battlefleet Gothic event. So we wanted to make what we thought were logical, growth choices from one year to the next. Obviously, if one event is selling out and has a huge waiting list, well, that's probably going to be one of the spots that we start expanding on. meanwhile, we're fighting with some very real logistical, problems where, okay, what space do we have available to us? How much terrain do we have available to us? Because that's we supply all of our own terrain. We don't take anything from the Nova Open themselves. We provide all of it ourselves, and as you are all very well aware, like that's a huge logistical headache trying to have and transport that much terrain, especially like Zone Mortalis tables, which are only good for Zone Mortalis most of the time. Like those don't get to play double duty for standard games, and now with the 8mm games expanding, now we have to. That's a consideration that we have to have as well. So we've expanded now this year. We've lost a couple of our staff. We've gained a few more as well, but we're still down from what we had last year. So we've had to make some changes, and some people are going to be running double duty on events. And but what we've done this year is we've actually made things a little bit smaller, but we've increased the number of events overall. So there's more opportunities for people to get into events that work for their schedule. So we've got, let me see, I'll double count it. So 1, 4, 10. Yeah, so we've got 18 events over 5 days. 4 of which we've got 4 Zone Mortality. You know what? I'll just go through the list. So it actually starts off on Wednesday night, where we are doing a blind date doubles Centurion event. Basically, everyone comes in. It's going to be a doubles game, 1,000 points, and you get randomly partnered with people. It's meant to be this icebreaker type event where you get to hopefully meet 3 people that you did not know walking in. So it just gives you this opportunity to get matched with people that maybe you wouldn't normally just randomly go up to and have a conversation with. But Thursday is when things really get started with some of the heavy hitter events. So we start off with during the daytime hours, we've got a frontline 3-game event called Opening Salvo, 3 games at 2,500 points. Then we've got a Centurion event. I believe that's at 3 games at 1,500 points, Centurion format. And we've also got a Zone Mortalis event. In the evening, we've got a Strike Team event, which is a fan-made rule set that's kind of like Kill Team for Heresy. Then we've got Titanicus and Zone Mortalis. Friday, again, Zone Mortalis, Legions Imperialis. This will be the first time we've incorporated LI. Obviously, it's a brand new game system. But then we've also got another frontline event called Frontline Assault, 3 games at 2,500 points. Then during the evening, we've got Battlefleet Heresy, another Zone Mortalis, and another opportunity to play Legions Imperialis. Saturday are kind of our capstone events. These tend to be the larger, most popular events. So we have our Bromance Bash, which is just our doubles event, always extremely popular, and then Excruciatus, which we lovingly refer to as our dick kicker event. That's the event you go to when you want to let the worst excesses of this hobby out. If you want to bring 15 dreadnoughts, that's the one you bring it to. That's not what you bring to Polite Company, but at that event, totally okay. And then we end our main attractions with an apocalypse game that we have called the Penultimate Battle, where all of the results of the games throughout the events throughout the week actually turn into bonuses and cons for the 2 sides in the event. So every event is going to have an overarching narrative that we're working on this year, and it's going to be I believe it's the battle for the Nova Primus sector, and so every event that is won by the Loyalist will give them bonuses during the Apocalypse game, and same with the Traders. while I'm not a huge fan of Apocalypse just personally, we have the guy who's running it, a guy named Will Lancaster. He runs a phenomenal event. I believe Jesse Irvin's going to be running it as well. But they basically DM it, so it's not just a straight, back and forth standard game. It's a big narrative game where things can change. The DM may come in and say, "Oh, guess what? Primarchs are coming in from over here," or Titans reinforcements coming in here. So you don't run this risk of someone getting shot off the table first turn and then not getting to enjoy their event. So it's just it's our version of a big party at the end of the week. And then on Sunday we have another Centurion event called the Fighting Retreat. It's a good farewell event where it's not nearly as structured. It's not necessarily free play, but anyone who shows up that's still around then wants to run a game, we're going to have that there available for them to do it. So it's an aggressive schedule, really, with the amount of people that we have running it, but we want to make sure that the players had as many opportunities to play different types of games throughout the entirety of the Nova Open. And I think we've done a pretty good job of making sure that that's going to happen. This is the first time that we've had the schedule built quite like this. So it's definitely going to be hopefully it's going to be a success, but if it doesn't work, we'll change things back up and make changes next year. That's kind of the game plan at this point, is just try to improve and always take good feedback and restructure it however we need to make sure that the people have a good time.
And how many total players are you hoping to have or looking at having right now, rough guess?
Well, if in a perfect world, if everything sells out, these events will cater to, I believe it's about 650 players over the course of the event. Somewhere around there. Maybe it's 700. We've changed the numbers a couple of times, so my estimates could be off by 50 or so. But yeah, it's around between 600 and 700.
That's an impressive and aggressive number to look for. That's definitely unique.
Well, we back on I believe March 1st is when tickets went on sale, and we're very proud of just the fact that we've set all of this stuff up, and we've already sold out on a lot of our events. We've got a couple of spots left on a few, and there's a few that are less attended, at least at the moment, but we're also a few months away from the final event, so there's going to be some shifting, and those spots are very likely to fill up as we get closer to the event itself. And what I tell people, and for anyone listening here tonight, if you're able to go to the Nova Open, if there is an event that is sold out that you really want to go to, please sign up on the waiting list. And if you're able to, be there when the event starts. Inevitably, there's going to be drops. There may be extra tables available, and we are committed to doing whatever we can as an EO team to make sure that you get to play. So we will do what we can to make sure that you have a good time and you are taken care of. So worst case scenario, we have to kind of send you on your way, but maybe there's another opportunity at another event. So just that's the best thing I can tell you, is sign up on the waiting list and just be there if you can. But you are guaranteed to have a good time. It is my life's work to make sure of it.
Okay. I'm honestly not quite certain what else to ask at this point. You kind of laid out an aggressive number of events, an aggressive Heresy schedule, and it sounds like you've got all your ducks in a row for everything. Are you getting your own hall for the Heresies events, akin to how the Heresy Hall was at the Dethroned this year?
So it won't be Heresy by itself. The way that the this particular area is set up, it's a very long event room. Well, way longer than the one at Adepticon. So there will be other game systems that are in that general space. I will say that from last year's experience, we had a generous amount of space between our tables. It wasn't uncomfortable or anything, but there were other game systems. I think they're putting Old World and like Marble Crisis Protocol in that same room. So there's going to be some other friends there to enjoy the space with us, but it'll be good. We had a great time with it last year. Everyone was very respectful of everyone's space and materials. So. And we were loud, obnoxious, and didn't have any problems with that either. So I expect that'll be the same this year. We have people starting early, and we'll be playing throughout all hours of the night. The hall does not close down. There'll be people playing all night long. That's just always how it works. So yeah, it is an aggressive schedule. If my team is dedicated to making this happen, and it's going to be a great time. I fell in love with the Nova the first time I got to go there as a player, and I am honestly honored that I get to be a part of it now. So I'm also really thankful that I'm able to connect with other names in the hobby, and like you like yourselves, and getting to share kind of what I do and why we do it, and hopefully can get the word out there and get some other people to go out there with us.
I dig this. You also said you run other events other than just Nova.
Yeah, So a couple friends and I started our own little gaming corporation called the Southeastern Tabletop Gaming Organization down here in Southern Virginia. We also partner with another local gaming club called the Old Dominion Military Society. Of which as of last weekend, I'm a board member of. And we run 2 conventions in Williamsburg, Virginia. One is called the Williamsburg Muster, and that's in February, and that's it's more directed towards historicals, but I do run I run a 16-table Heresy event there every year, and the way that we wiggle that in is it's still historical. It's just history that hasn't happened yet. So we're being cheeky and somehow getting around the rules of this is a historical event. And then in October, we'll be running another general tabletop gaming convention called Call to Arms. That's October 11th through the 13th, also in Williamsburg, Virginia. And that's kind of that's our baby. It's completely our convention, and it's modest in size, but we have grown it from our first convention was about 300 attendees, and I think this last year we got to about 500. So we're slowly adding on new events, getting connected with new sponsors, and just getting a name for ourselves. So and we're also going to be participating in some other conventions. They're not ours, but we'll be participating in the Richmond Open, which is over the weekend of May 4th in Richmond, Virginia, and the newest edition is called ImmerseCon, which is going to be June 22nd and 23rd in Henrico, Virginia, where I'll be running some Heresy events there, and I think we're going to be running some Marvel Crisis Protocol and some Star Wars Legion, maybe some D&D. I'm not sure exactly what all we're going to be doing there, but yeah, we've been able to grow it a little bit and just provide more opportunities for different local gaming groups to have some place to go and enjoy themselves and meet new people. But it's a lot. I've been running around like a crazy person trying to get all the details, and but I enjoy it. It's fun. I'm at the point now where I'm trying to reach out to connect with other people and see if I can get some help in making them bigger and better.
I dig this. I dig every single bit of this information. Does anyone else have questions they want to talk to Ben about?
So, like with all your events, do you have like the build outs and stuff? Because you had some very unique events, as you mentioned earlier, like a Heresy Kill Team style event. And where can anybody, like, is that all on the Nova website, or do you have someplace special that people need to go to look at stuff for those rules?
So we do most of our communication with the public through our Facebook page, Nova Heresy.
Okay.
I believe if the website, I'm going to double check, make sure that this is still active. We started a novaheresy.com, which is basically of course now my computer doesn't work, but yeah, no, it's still up. So novaheresy.com is also a place that you can go. We're in the process of updating that so that can kind of be a general repository of knowledge. I am in the process now of working with all of my my connections and other event organizers to get all of our rules, all of our players packets, information from years past, and just consolidating all into one one drive or a Dropbox link so that we can easily share that with whoever wants it. None of our stuff is copywritten. If other local gaming groups can get some use out of it, they want to try some custom missions, whatever, like it'll be there. You can have it. If you want to start running Strike Team or Battlefleet Heresy locally, you'll have all the rules. A lot of this stuff was developed and play tested by the Remembrancers Retreat out of Virginia, and so they've been a huge partner in all of this. So those are the two places you can go and contact us. And soon, once I get all of the materials put together in one spot, I'll be sharing that out for anyone and everyone to enjoy.
Sweet. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well,
now there's awkward silence.
I don't really know if there's any other questions that I had that I really wanted to ask you. I was kind of hoping that other people here would have other questions, but
no, you covered everything great. Like, if I was able to go, I feel like I'd have the knowledge to go now. Minus, well, any good hotel recommendations for around Nova, where people to stay or avoid?
So the Nova this year is going to be run in the DC Hilton, and I believe there are still some spots left there from the last meeting that I had with them. There were still some rooms available, and that's kind of the place to go, and that's where I'll be staying. That area is, it is kind of a pain in the ass to get to because it is in the heart of DC, but the area is very nice. Walking around there is awesome. There's a lot of good places to food. Jesus Christ, Ben, to eat. There's a lot of good restaurants. Lucky Buns is phenomenal if you ever get to go out there. But it's a very convenient location for a convention. And there are a couple of hotels that are nearby in walking distance. I just don't have personal experience with them. But it's close enough that you can, it's a quick drive to the National Cathedral, to a lot of landmarks out there. So if you want to take a day off from the convention going, or you had your loved ones, significant others with you that they weren't interested and they want to go sightseeing, there's plenty of opportunity to do that as well. In my opinion, way more than Chicago, with Adepticon. There's a lot of places, a lot of historical locations that you can go and enjoy yourself in.
Okay.
But yeah, if you have the opportunity to go out there, it's a great time. Like I can't recommend it enough. I will say, like, it was interesting to me. Like I said earlier, that I wanted to go out to Adepticon to see how those events were run, and so it was really interesting to me to find out that there were like multiple groups running different 30K events, Titanicus and Legions Imperialis were run by another group. There were some one-off events that were run by some individuals. It wasn't. It seemed to me, and I could be incorrect in what I saw, but it seemed like there was like disparate groups all kind of functioning in the same space, but not really coordinating in certain aspects of it. From a player's perspective, that was not a negative. Everything seemed to run as it was meant to run. It was just a different way of organizing it that is different to me.
How many event organizer staff do you guys have over there at Nova?
So for Heresy, we've got 9. And some of them, we all run a different amount of events. So we've got one guy who just runs basically one event because that's what his schedule allows for, and then a couple of us are running 3, 4, and 5 events just because we're available, or we have the expertise for that event. That it's not ideal, but like I said, we kind of our staff changed a lot this year just from normal life stuff. But all of those game systems are still under one umbrella, the 30K umbrella. And
Right.
So we try to coordinate certain aspects, especially for like the narrative stuff. We want to make sure that each event kind of sticks with that. The narrative is one of those things, the mechanics that we're still kind of building out, and that was a big part of what I wanted to go to Adepticon for, was to see like how the Ferrix guys actually work their narrative into the events. What we did last year, I think, was fun. I think it was good, but I don't think it resonated with our player base as much as I think it could have if we had just tweaked a couple of things and made it more generally accessible to everyone. There would have been less questions. There would have been more, immediate availability of narrative information, and that's just those things that you kind of work through and learn as you go. It was the first time we had tried it, and some things worked, some things didn't, but it was interesting to see how the Ferrix guys did theirs. And I might take a couple of plays from their playbook and switch it around to make it our own, but that's kind of where we are right now. And our team is, with 9 people, is still one of the larger game teams for Nova. Even the larger events have smaller teams. Like 40K, I think, only has like 5 people running their entire event. They've got a lot of volunteers that are just kind of walking around helping judge, but like they're not actually running the event.
Okay.
I hate to say it, but I don't really think I've got any other questions.
It's all right. It's all right. You're not hurting my feelings. I can talk a lot and just start repeating the same things over and over again.
No.
You're good. You're good. Is your narrative right now a map based, or is it purely written down?
So last year it was a map based. We basically had it set up a very large. It was a couple of planets with a huge space station, and a lot of the events were about different sectors of that space station and taking over, destroying stuff, or busting things out of it, whatever. That's what we want to do this year. If things work out the way we want it to, we actually want to build a 3-dimensional representation of the sector that we're fighting over. Don't know exactly what we're going to do with that one yet. We're talking about doing something like you remember those like planetary empire tiles?
Yep.
Doing something like that, but 3D print them. Because I too am huge into 3D printing, so that's that's something that I would be taking up. Because we would like to have something where we can just kind of put it on display, and then as things happen, as events go by, we can either swap them out with different colored tiles, or maybe put flags or something to denote that this area is taken by a certain legion or a certain faction, whatever. So that's what we would like to do. We're currently in the stage of having to focus on the need to haves, and once some of those are checked off, we'll get into the would be nice to haves. Like, we need terrain. Like, we can't run this thing without terrain. So that's going to be our primary focus for a while. After we make sure that all of our players packs are taken care of, all of our missions are written and tested, and then once we can go in and do some of the niceties, that we'll probably get into that in June and July.
Very cool. I used a Planetary Empire style map in the Michigan campaign. I think it was 2 years ago now, and that was a lot of fun. We basically just had the opposing sides vie for control over tiles and kept a running tally of who was up so many victory points on each location, and the winning team was the one that dominated the map, which I want to say was Loyalists that year, which was uncommon up here in Michigan. Seems like the traders are always pretty heavy.
It's funny you say that, because when we run stuff, it's almost always Loyalist. If like, we had people that were absolutely pissed off during our our Apocalypse game, because it was like, oh well, why do the good guys have all of the stuff? Well, because they won everything. Like, if the trader players had decided to come and actually play, then maybe you would have gotten some fun stuff. But so one of the things that I've started doing, I back in February at the Williamsburg muster, there's always this issue with running events. I don't use the term tournament. I always use the term narrative event. Because how you frame these events has a big effect on the player base and what their expectations are when they come to that event. So when you use the term tournament, it makes it seem like winning is the only thing that matters. So they're less likely to curb some of those those worst excesses. Like, as much as we love the game and the rules are arguably in the best state that they've been in a very long time, there's still some things that you can do that maybe you just shouldn't sometimes in polite play. So I'm been playing around with this system of how do we measure victories. We've got the victory point system, of course, but during my last large event, I started having my players write down, and when they turned in their scorecards, certain victory conditions. Give me a percentage of how much of your army got lost, how much of your HQs got lost, did you lose any Lords of War, and then I started building formulas in my little spreadsheets that I used to keep track of everything. And so at the end of the game, I can look at it and be like, okay, well, the Loyalists won by victory points, but they lost more of their leadership throughout the entire event. Like, okay, you won, but did you really? Because you've lost a lot of your your praetors and your consuls. That may have an effect on the next event that we run. So it kind of gives a little bit more context, a little more breadth to just, all right, this side got this many victory points, this side got this many. I think the player base appreciates that level of detail when they see events like this. It's not just, all right, who won, who lost. Well, like, okay, how you won, but like, you lost all of your Lords of War. Yeah, what cost exactly? That's the best way to put it. Like, you you achieved the victory, but you've won the battle. Are you going to win the war now? So when you start getting data like that with your players, when they give you their scorecards, you can actually do some fun things with it, and you can build other mechanics into your system. So that's something else that I'm kind of toying around with, and I'm working on seeing if that's something that we can reasonably implement into a larger event like the Nova Open, or if it's something that I just need to do on a smaller scale where it's a little easier to manage.
I have to keep in touch about this because I'm working on something similar with our Michigan event track where we do about 4 events a year, and I kind of got tired of having that same old okay, as long as I won and we did give them the victory point front, all is good. Well, this year I've changed it up, and we're now fighting for resources. Whether or not you won doesn't even actually matter. Having that bigger spread of resource points into your pool for your team is way more important than just getting that victory out. And I am keeping track of, significant leadership losses. Like in our first event this year, I managed to kill off Sigismund. So that's going to come back to bite him in the butt.
Oh, yeah.
How? I'm still figuring that out, but it's going to matter.
Oh, absolutely. It changes every time. You want to make it, kind of new and exciting, for people who have been there playing multiple events. You don't want it to be, just a cookie cutter, from one event to the next. So you're always trying to implement something new. It doesn't always work, or sometimes it's more of a pain in the ass than it's worth. So for that event, I gave out some awards for the player that overall lost the lowest percentage of his army across all 3 games. Now, this wasn't the person who necessarily got the most victory points, but they kept their people alive. Same with losing the fewest of their HQ options. I gave one. The funniest one by far was I gave out an award called Failure is an Option, and it was the highest percentage of army losses across 3 games. And of course, it was a World Eater's army, and I gave him a Magic the Gathering Commander deck because maybe this game just isn't quite for him, and it was extremely well received. They just thought it was the funniest damn thing. And when you get to a point where you're connected with your player base and they get the joke, they get what you're trying to do, you can do fun stuff like that, and it's made the group really appreciate the extra effort that goes into running these events, because they don't take it seriously. Let me rephrase that. They take it seriously, but they don't take it so seriously that it removes the fun factor, and that's an amazing place to be in when you're running an event.
So they're taking it seriously. They're just not taking it to heart.
Yeah. They're not there to They realize that no one's impressed when you're the best Warhammer player. They're impressed when you have well painted minis, when you're enjoying yourself in the game. Very few people remember the wins and the losses in the long run. They remember the little interactions and the dumb shit that happens, firing my plasma cannon heavy support squad and losing all 5 of them to get hot results. I don't remember what the end result of that game was, but I remember doing that.
Okay, I got a good one, and you'll remember this. Shooting a Space Wolf murder squad to the point where they had to take a morale check and they broke and ran off the board.
Yeah, and you may also remember Nathaniel Garrow trying to charge a javelin with las cannons and a multi-melta, getting killed, him standing back up on 1 wound, and then failing to kill the javelin in close combat, and then getting chainsworded to death.
Epic moments.
Yeah, you remember stuff like that. So rewarding, fun interactions. Like, I give my players the opportunity to write down little stories on their score sheets. They can take it seriously and write it like they would a Black Library novel, or they can just say some real funny dumb shit, and I read them out at the end of the event. Not all of them, but I pick and choose the ones that I really like, and I give out some takeaways for writing something fun. And it starts taking away the pressure from the wins and the losses. Like, no one thinks that like that's the point. And they just really start leaning into the more fun aspects of the game, like enjoying the time with your opponent, and just doing fun stuff, and maybe making doing something that's not tactically the right choice, but is absolutely the most thematic thing, like doing a oh gosh, what is the name of that show? Oh my gosh, like just taking a hill with a land raider and just jumping off of it so that they can ram a squad at the bottom of it, like while doing the Dukes of Hazzard theme song in the background. Like, that's funny. It's not smart, but it's funny.
Like Jackass with the shopping cart.
Yeah, exactly.
Jack and I had a game last spring where we turned a pile of tanks into, I think there was a Saber, then a Land Raider, then a Kratos, and something else wound up on top.
It was very amusing.
Oh yeah. Like, I got into a game with my Solar Ox against a Custodes player, and like there's no reason on this earth that I should have won that game, but I just kept ramming Custodes squads with Aurochs, and they kept breaking their morale, and they just kept running away every time I hit them with Aurochs. Like, that is one of the funniest images that I can get in my head when it comes to Heresy. Like, the golden demigods of the Emperor's bodyguards themselves getting hit with a fucking Suburban, and like, oh god, run away. Well, it's funny to me, at least.
No, it's great.
No, I mean, it sounds cool.
Yeah, that's the sort of stuff that we really push for at our events. Just have a good time with it. Like, don't take it too seriously, and you will have a better time not taking it too seriously.
Absolutely.
And that's about the truth of everything, yeah. As long as you're having a good time, your opponent's having a good time, I think the memories in the games themselves don't really matter. But the memories of what happened and how much fun you all had, that's the important part.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that, like, we're all a big fan of Heresy right now, but there may be a time where Heresy is not the game of choice for us. Like, we may decide that we want to go to something else. We want to play, Star Wars or Marvel or War Machine, whatever. We may move to a different game system, and that's fine. The game doesn't matter, but the people that you play that game with absolutely do. And that's what we're trying to build. When Duncan, when you and I were enjoying those adult beverages so liberally, the word kind of gets overused sometimes, but like, community is absolutely the most important part to me in Heresy. The game is fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy the models. I enjoy the narrative, but I enjoy the people most. And if I can do some small thing to help build that community and give other players a place that they can go and enjoy the community that I love so much, then it is absolutely worth all of that effort.
Yeah. Yep. That sounds makes sense. I don't think at this point there's anything that we've really left uncovered, gentlemen.
No, but I appreciate all of you. I appreciate what you do for the hobby. I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and talk shop with you all. For anyone listening, I am available on Facebook. We're going to be obviously going to be doing the Nova stuff. So if you're interested in learning more, or you've got materials that you would like to send my way to share with the group at large, that would be awesome. And anything that I can do personally to help make your experience in the Heresy community better, I welcome it. Always feel free to reach out to me.
Very much appreciated, sir.
I
Awesome.
can't wait
Thank
to
you
see
all.
you in Milwaukee next year.
Absolutely, it's going to be a great time. I'll be there with with my bells on. Like,
Bells on.
I don't, just nothing else, just bells.
Those bells.
No, please wear pants. Pants are a requirement. No matter how much you may not like them, pants are a requirement.
All right, but they're going to be the smallest, tightest pants you've ever seen on a fat man.
Look, there's pictures of Heresy Camp with the De La Rosas, and we're not scared.
You're gonna live to hate that you said that, Duncan.
No, I won't, because I promise you, I will be drunk enough not to care.
Absolutely, sounds good. Well, again, thank you all. I appreciate you guys.
And it's
thank you
Facebook
for coming
Nova
on.
Open, which is where they can find
Yep.
everything for Nova Open.
So the Facebook page, I will tell you exactly. Let me make sure that Nova. So it's the Nova Open Heresy Horus Heresy events.
Okay.
Nova Open Horus Heresy Events is our Facebook page, and that's where we do the majority of our communication with the public. You can also go to novaheresy.com. Right now, it's in a state of transition as we get everything set up. That'll be something that we get finalized over the summer, but that'll also be a repository of knowledge. As we start working out those details.
Okay. And the official dates for Nova are the 28th of August?
So the Nova Open is August 28th to September 1st at the DC Hilton.
Okay.
And you can get those tickets on tabletop events. There are still some tickets left for a number of the Heresy events, and with the possibility of some being added on later on in the summer.
I'm trying to remember. Is Nova Open also the one that often does a really big charity auction that goes along with the con?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
I thought so. I can't find it online right now, but I do remember in the past I have purchased tickets for some of the things that were up in the auctions.
The only thing that I can remember, and I may even be mixing this up with last year, I think that there was going to be a Warlord Titan painted by Dan Osborne. That may have been last year, now that I've said it out loud. But normally they have a really nice selection of very well painted models for that goes to the Nova.
Yeah, they usually
charities.
Yeah, usually every year they have those. You can get tickets online for them too if you're not going to be in person.
Yeah, you don't have to be there in person to win. They will ship it to you.
Yeah, Nova Open Charity. So the NovaOpenFoundation.org is actually where they host all that.
Yep. And if you're a big painter, there is the Crystal Palette is also at the Nova Open, and that is quickly becoming one of the U.S.'s biggest and best painting competitions. That is not strictly Golden Demon. They have a number of fantastic painters that go in. They judge that, including like Eric Swinson and Vince Venturella, and again Dan Osborne. I think they all are. I want to say that they all help judge that. And there's always some amazing just work that I can't even understand when I look at it. Like, I don't know how you paint that.
I can honestly say that I have asked other painters who are at that level similar questions, and my answer has almost always been, I have no idea how they do it.
No, they just have they have an ability that a muscle that I cannot flex. But
You're not wrong.
But I'm funnier than they are, and that's all that matters.
Look, I understand my limitations. I can just be me.
Absolutely, and that's enough for me.
There you go. Well, gentlemen, it's been a fun night talking with you all. I hope everyone's had a pleasant evening. Listeners out there, whoever hears this, I hope that you've enjoyed our conversation. Anyone got any closing thoughts or anything they want to touch on before we call it a night?
No, just that I'm excited to hopefully get a chance to play against Ben here again.
I hope the same. I hope I get to play you all again very soon. You are just a treasure.
Well then, with our positivity out of the way, I would like to wish everyone a good night. And thank you for listening to us on the Heresy Accountability Buddies tonight on episode 79. As always, I have been Duncan, and tonight I've been joined by my friends
Jack?
Ian.
Yeah.
Dan.
Jamie.
I forgot they joined.
One day, I promise, one day we will get the intro and the outro together.
No,
But it will not be
You
today.
shouldn't promise
You
things that
forget
aren't
it.
going to happen. You can't deliver that.
Look, we've been trying for 79 episodes and we haven't done it yet. It doesn't matter how often we try, we always find a way to fail.
You do realize
Next.
next a week from Monday will be 2 years for my first episode dropping.
Yes, and I believe that we've actually had a little bit of a discussion as to what we are going to do for our 2-year episode. But we will see. We will see.
I don't know how I'm going to fit into that cake to pop out of it for the celebration, but I'm going to try.
I have a very large blender.
Oh, I don't like
I have a very large cake.
Yeah, I like that option better than blender. Jesus Christ.
See, I was thinking a blender.
Oh, sorry.
I was thinking a blender and a whole bunch of cupcakes.
He is
Where to take
a
that?
world eater. He is a world eater fan. So
That's fair.
I mean, it is what it is.
Now.
Everybody listening, thank you for joining us and have a good evening. Remember to stay accountable to your friends, accountable to your hobby, and accountable to yourself and your buddies. Good night.